a nurse walked in and she was younger and she was just getting, do you have any questions? How have you been feeling? I'm like, I feel good. Like, no specific questions. Like, everything was just very routine. She put the little Doppler on my abdomen and she couldn't find anything and it was taking a little bit. And I think, like you said, like, that's always spooky. That's a worse fear situation. But then, like you said, she was young. She was a nurse. I was like, get a doctor and they'll be able to find the heartbeat, surely. The doctor was the first day I met her, which was, wild. She was still very reassuring. She was like, I remember she said, I promise you these things happen.
Yeah.
And meaning, like, these things happen and the baby is okay. And so they were very great to rush us into the ultrasound room. And the ultrasound technician was moving really fast. Like, she was taking those pictures. They're always kind of fast, but she was taking pictures really fast. And whenever we saw the baby, she quickly flipped the screen. But I just remember, without going into too many details, she was really still in there. And they put the little thing on where they're looking for the red and blue for cardiac activity. And the only red and blue dots were outside of her little body, which would probably be like my heartbeat, right? And then I just remember these words. I literally grabbed her arm. And she said, Abby, I don't have good news for you. And that was when it feels like there was an Abby pre that moment and an Abby post that moment. Because then we leave the ultrasound room, go back to our doctor. Our kids are wreaking havoc in the office.
They are.
Which was funny and a great relief.
They were like opening up the computer and typing on
buttons,
the keyboard.
Messing with flashlights.
Yeah, they like disassembled the flashlight.
Yeah. And then you're put in a position where you have to make decisions that you start the process of making decisions you never thought you'd have to make. And you never had even considered. Which is like how you're going to bring this baby into the world so soon without a heartbeat. And that was tough but also easy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone in this situation, there is absolutely no judgment for like what you decide to do, but because I was 17 weeks along, the options are graphic.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the options that we were given, that Abby was given, was you can go to what really is an abortion clinic to have them remove the dead baby. And that just like that, I never like gave you my opinion on that because it was like totally your decision to make. But what Abby ended up deciding to do was to go to a hospital and deliver the baby.
Yeah. That was one of the easier decisions for me personally, just because it felt like delivering her would be like one of the last acts as her mom that I could take part in. While that was hard, it was really not something I had to think super hard about. So I left the doctor's office, and then we had to wait a while until there was availability in the hospital. And I will never forget walking into the hospital. I was just looking at my feet and I was just thinking, one more step, one more step, one more step. Because that's all I could do is like break up into the next right step, the next right step. And ever since then, I've been following that same path, just looking down and focusing, what's the next right step? What's the next right step? Because entering those doors, knowing what was going to happen just felt like such a big mountain to climb. But I knew that I could take one step at a time and go and do this thing